All right. Hey there, and welcome to this episode where we're going to be going into the OCD and anxiety FAQs or frequently asked questions. And in this episode, I'm going to talk about the question, can I actually recover and get better? So, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Matt Cotty, and I'm the founder of Restored Minds and the creator of the AAA Response. And if you are looking for resources and help on your journey to recovery from OCD and anxiety, please check out the links down below. You can start with the book from getting from stuck to unstuck. You can look at our workshops. You can also apply to work with us in our Taking Back Control program, in which we have various levels of support, all the way from self-study to group to individual one-on-one help. So this was a question I got, and I felt compelled to answer this because, I mean, one is just like a heartbreaking question. Sometimes when I hear people ask this, because just the hopelessness that the person's feeling usually when they're asking a question like this. And I totally remember feeling this too, because I mean, I remember first when I was seeking help. I got told all sorts of things, misdiagnosed, and more importantly, people would put their beliefs about what was possible for me onto me. And I mean, very fortunately, I was one, and still am, stubborn. Like that is for sure a thing that I can anchor into, is stubbornness. Um, and so when I was told things like, well, this is not something you can really get better from, this is something you might learn how to manage. And then, you may or may not be able to get married or live on your own, X, Y, and Z, things like that. I just didn't, it wasn't even that, like, it just was so clear to me that that person wasn't for me. Like I was not ever going to pursue working with people that said things like that. It was like my objective was recovery. My objective was, I'm going to figure out how to recover, and I'm going to figure out how to get my life back, and I'm going to figure out how to go live the life I want to live. That was it. It was the only acceptable option, right? And and if you weren't on a board with that, right, like I wasn't going to work with them, right? So so that said, like, like I had that just kind of nasty mentality coming into my own recovery. And when it comes to the idea of, can you actually recover and can you get better, like my answer is yes, of course. I totally believe in the human body's ability to heal, right? And the ability, and I believe in, I mean, I've watched miraculous things happen. So I'd say that the first thing is really about, you need to believe that you can, right? Because like if you read like Joseph Murphy and his book, The Power of the Subconscious Mind, talks about the law of belief. So like the first thing is, if you believe you're not going to recover, well, you'll engage in things that make that a reality, right? And so the first thing is, you have to believe in recovery. You have to believe that you will recover, right? Like that's not something that I can change for somebody, right? This is why, like, the difference is not if, it's like, are you going, like, what do you believe? And again, what beliefs have you taken on from someone else, just because someone said something or you read something on the internet or all that stuff? It's like, you have to let go of those limiting beliefs that you're bringing into this. And even if you've tried a bunch of things to this point and haven't had results that you're looking for, that oftentimes is not necessarily an indication that there's anything wrong with you, as much as something hasn't been explained to you correctly. You haven't been receiving the right guidance. And so you just keep pursuing that answer because it's out there, right? Now, like, one of the things that I think keeps people stuck is this idea of, engaging in safety behaviors and compulsions continuously, right? And they continue to engage in compulsions and safety behaviors, and that is going to keep the wheel going. So like the first thing is can you actually get better and recover? Yes, I fully believe that. And the reason I believe it is because, like, we all have real similar built up nervous system. And if you actually don't engage in any safety behaviors, that wheel cannot spin. It can't. But it has to be the elimination of mental and physical safety behaviors or compulsions. So like, yes, like you have to believe in it and you have to actually do the right stuff. Right. If you're still trying to, again, eliminate the thoughts and eliminate the feelings, well, that's not what recovery is. Recovery is breaking out of the wheel, right? Recovery is getting out of that loop. And then once you're out of the loop, then your nervous system can begin to regulate through habituation. The brain can rewire through neuroplasticity. And I've seen people go through this process that have struggled for a few months and then, like went through our program. And then I've seen people that have wrestled with this for decades that just never knew what they were experiencing. So, and get better because it's really about like these habits that you've been engaging in that are very unhealthy, like these habits of just ruminating, right? These habits of always trying to get rid of your feelings, avoiding your feelings. These things these things are habits that are keeping that loop going. So, you know, to the person that asked this question and the people that feel this question, I mean, number one, I always want to say that there's always hope. There's never such thing as a lost cause. And even if that's like, hey, I've tried, you know, 24 different therapists and all of them are saying I can't. Okay, it's like, hey, you know what? There's the right answer out there for you. And your job is to always keep pursuing it, just to keep going. So when you're in these kind of states of feeling, if they're feeling hopelessness or stuff, your job is to keep going and to keep going and keep going until you find the person that or whatever it is that is going to help you do the work that you need to do to get better. Number one is, I think the first thing is you're always actually the solution. You're the only person that can actually get you better. But if you're looking for guidance, then it's about finding guides that you really do align with and people that are going to be able to walk you through to solve whatever it is that you're looking for, because I don't think this just applies to OCD and anxiety. I think it applies to anything, really. I mean, even physical healings. It's like, man, dude, it's like you read some of the stories out there of things that have happened, and it's like, I believe in possibility. I mean, I will say that unequivocally, right? Um, so that being said, my answer to this question would be yes, and really anchoring into the belief and you adopting that belief that that's going to be true for you. It's going to be a big part of that. Then also doing the right things and really understanding what recovery is breaking out of the loop. Recovery is not an absence of thoughts and feelings. It's an absence of safety behaviors and compulsions. That is recovery. That's how you measure recovery correctly. That's how you track recovery correctly. And recovery is that loop cannot spin unless you engage in those behaviors. And there's going to be people out there that disagree with me and say, hey, like, we can't, that's impossible. And, this and that. And, let them believe that. It's okay. There's people who completely disagree with me on this. Good. That's okay. I'm not here to convince everyone to try to think like me. I'm telling you how I think. Right. And this is just me sharing my own opinions. And I would never set any kind of limitations on another individual, because that would assume that I know the limitations that are out there. And I don't believe in that, transparently. And so this is a little bit of a passion episode, because it's just like, I think I get so frustrated listening to people who put limiting beliefs on others just because they don't fully understand something or they haven't achieved those results themselves. Therefore, it can't be possible for others. That's why it's like the first thing is like, one thing that I would always say is find someone who's achieved what you want. And then now, as soon as you find that person, it's possible. You have to believe in possibility, right? There's plenty of people who have overcome OCD and anxiety. So the idea of it being possible is obvious. There's plenty of people that have done it. And yeah, I don't even know the numbers, right? So then it's about like you aligning with someone and kind of figuring out like, okay, like which person's the best to help guide me on that process. And really trusting that it can happen for you too, and believing that. So I wanted to answer that question. because and I read it, it just kind of, yeah, it just kind of hurt when I was reading it, with the submission. So to the person who wrote it, yes, I mean, I just want to let you know that that's what I fundamentally believe at the core of my being, that you and anyone else that's wrestling with OCD anxiety can recover and can get better, because it's really just making sure you understand what that means and what you need to do, and believing that it's possible for you. So thank you for spending time this episode. Hope this was helpful, and wish you guys a great week as always.